So you should. We're going to be
I
up
just
on
saw YouTube
Okay, cool. So we're going to be
yeah,
up all live on all
and
my Tech
Facebook.
Buzz stuff. So everything's up.
Yep.
And we'll be live on the Telestream Wirecast page on Facebook, the Telestream LinkedIn page, and also the Telestream Tube YouTube page. Man, you're getting all the notifications. I hear them going ding, ding.
I know.
Marty's over there. I was like,
It's to watch.
what's going on? That's okay. Hey, there we go. I see us. We're live on Facebook.
I think that's what just came up on my phone here.
There we go.
My LinkedIn.
So, Greg, you could always do, if you want to do a watch party, you could probably throw that up on Live View. I don't know if they give you access to that, or Claudia can do that if she's watching or she turns on, if they want to push it that way.
They probably will.
However they want to do it.
Yeah.
So what we try to do is we'll try to, hey, what's going up, Andrew? Andrew Haley over on LinkedIn.
Andrew Haley, hey.
I know, blast from the
Andrew?
past. There you go. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to facilitate comments the best we can. LinkedIn, for some reason, they don't go in real time. Like, I haven't been able to see them in real time. Like, I sometimes have to refresh the page, and then all of a sudden it's like bam, 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 they all drop. But Marty kind of handles Facebook. And uh-oh, somebody's got the stream up.
That was me.
Oh, okay.
Might be. I didn't realize I was hooked up to Bluetooth still. Just take that off.
Andrew says, Greg on the other side of the fence. This is exciting.
On screen, baby. Let's go.
Yep. Well, let me get up. We're also on a platform called Get Vocal, which, if you remember, there was a platform way back in the day that was like Blab. It's a small little platform, but we get some decent traction in there. So we have it up on that. People come in and we try to get those guys some content, and it's not any extra work or anything like that. So
that's cool. So it's 5 platforms altogether.
There's about 10.
Right?
There's about 10 because we're on the Tech Buzz Roku channel, because I have like 50,000 households that have it installed. So we get some decent numbers from that. I have it on Amazon, the Kindle Fire Stick or whatever, the Amazon Fire Stick, because I have an app for that as well. And I'm soon going to get this podcasted once we get some servers and things like that going. So that'll be the next iteration of this. Hopefully before the end of the year, we'll get that going. And then we got a few other shows that we're going to hopefully try to launch here in the future. That'll be fun.
Sweet deal. You're everywhere. Can't get away from you.
We're trying. So I'm trying to leverage my audience to let them know that this is here, that we're doing it, that have followed, Marty and I doing broadcasts now for the last 3 years, 4 years?
Yeah.
It's been a while. And so this is the On Social show is kind of a combination of a professional broadcasting show as well as how to get out on social media. And we didn't get to that part yet because we're still getting everybody trying to get as professional as they can, but we're going to start bringing marketers and things on to help give their opinions on how people can maximize the social space with their live video. So I think not painting ourselves into a box as this being a broadcast show is going to help.
Yep.
Love it.
So that's the vision, if you will, of On Social. So it should be fun.
Welcome, Lindsay, on Facebook. And just on Facebook, Scott Moore, I know you put the comment in about Wirecast. Just so you know, this is not a Wirecast support show, but I will direct you to the Wirecast users group on Facebook. And you can certainly post a question there. That's a really good group, and they can certainly try to answer it there, or certainly call support. But we don't do it's not a direct support show for Wirecast, just so you guys know. But we will be talking with Greg of a live view. I think today's show is going to be very, very interesting. Great topic about doing live professional video in the field.
And we got Curtis Brooks on LinkedIn. Welcome. He says hi. And so for you Wirecast users, I will tell you this. I talked with Bryce, who is our technical product manager for Wirecast today. As you guys know, beta 2 for Wirecast 13 has come out yesterday. So if you go over to the forums, you can download that right now and give your feedback in the forums. But I talked with him about coming on when Wirecast 13 launches to be able to answer all of your great questions. So we're going to spend a show dedicated to that. We're going to have the technical product manager come on and talk about that in the future. And also, I don't know if anybody heard, but it was in the press releases that the new Wirecast gear was also launched. So when that, we're going to hopefully schedule that for, I think, the second week of October. We got to get past IBC because all these guys are going out to IBC and all that. If you're not familiar with what IBC is, it's a European broadcast convention. Greg, are you going over to that or?
I'm not, because I focus on the North American market
Ah.
here, so it doesn't make sense for me to go there. But
He's like, darn.
wish. I went last year. It was fun.
Yeah. So that's what's coming up. We're gonna kind of pencil that in for like the second week of October. Hopefully, get him on to talk about the really hardcore specs of the new Wirecast gear. So that should be fun. So that's going to be coming up. So save some of your Wirecast questions for that.
Hey, Mark Rogers, welcome.
Hey, Alex, over on Get Vocal. I did open it. I'm going to start the broadcast at 2. I did schedule the broadcast over on Get Vocal. So it was scheduled. It was up on the front page, I guess, for a little bit. So I did do that earlier. I just decided to come in like 5 or 10 minutes early. We always do a video, audio check, if you will, to get going. So,
Good to see you, Mark.
did you say Mark Rogers is here?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's
we better behave then.
Yeah, exactly. He's a professional. So,
The
in
professional.
fact, I'm gonna help him. He's upgrading his productions. I'm gonna help. Takes phone. This guy is amazing. He talks college football. For you guys don't know, if you're into college football, Mark Rogers, he's in the chat on Facebook. Follow his channel. He's tremendous if you're into college football. But he's taking phone calls. He does these live shows, takes phone calls. People call in. So we're trying to get his calls to be routed directly into an audio interface and get the audio right. So I'm gonna be working that. You better bring it.
Mark, we still got to find a time to get you on here so you could talk about how
Yes.
you've leveraged social media and done the sports broadcast. I'm sure there's some guys here that are into the sports broadcasting, so we'd love to have you on in the future as well. And I was speaking with Michael Manna. For those that don't know, he's former WWE superstar Stevie Richards. I was actually on his podcast the other day about retro gaming. You guys that don't know, I have a retro gaming arcade here in my studio, and him and I were talking, and he does a fitness as a professional wrestler. Whether you know how professional wrestling is, these guys are in the tip-top shape of their lives, you know. So he has his own business in fitness, and he's using and leveraging live video and social media to better that. So Marty, he's got a lot of questions for us. So he would love to come on. So I know that's something we're going to schedule
man,
here
he's
in
great.
the future. Yeah, he's a great
Yes.
guy.
Yep.
So that's going to be coming up.
He's another one with a great story. Michael Manna, Mark Rogers, these people just work hard and get it done, and they're seeing success. And some great stories out there.
So if you guys have any suggestions, also ladies, we'd like to hear from you. I know there's some ladies out there doing some awesome stuff. Please get in touch with us. Guys, send in those videos. We're not going to be doing it today, but because we've got a great guest with us today. But going back next week, we want to show that your videos. You don't have to come on live if you don't want to. We were kind of adding that as a bonus the following week. If you want to come on, ask us questions. We can spend time, Jeff, myself, and Marty, kind of going over your workflow. We'd love to do that for you. But if you just want to send in a video of your setup or questions that you have, send it in. We want them for next week. We'd love to showcase that stuff, no matter what you're using. If you, it doesn't have to just be Wirecast specific. But send in your workflows. We'd love to see them.
And it doesn't and don't think that if you're not, as we obviously present a really good image here and high quality production, but
we try.
Don't feel intimidated. We are interested in hearing from everybody. This is the whole purpose of the show.
Right.
Is if you're just starting out and you have questions and you want to send in a video and we can help you, that's the whole purpose. So.
Yes, that's right. Got a lot of years of experience up on this platform, mainly in the center of the 4 boxes.
Well, I don't know about the.
Greg and I are still catching up here.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You're very modest.
No, Greg's got a lot of experience in this stuff. He knows the pains that we all felt.
Well, I've been there.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
had broadcasts fail, so I know how to
That's
how to fix those things now.
we need to. I think Marty, you and I were talking about this the other day. We need to do a show on
See you, Mark.
how broadcasts fail because
Exactly.
oh
So
my
many
goodness.
things. I mean, so many fail points. Yeah.
Oh
I mean,
man.
sounds
it
like-
happens. It happens at the highest levels all the time. I see all. I watch TV. I worked in TV for a long time, and Jeff probably knows this too. You watch TV and you see all the mistakes, but along with the catastrophic fails, but you see a lot of little mistakes happen all the time. So doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does. The best is when you get the anchor with the deer in the headlights because the prompter stopped and now they don't know how to speak at all.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
a good one.
It's amazing.
You'll have this.
So, Steve, this is going to be the frame shot I've got right now, and I was trying to get one of my monitors to work in this direction. They're all back here, so I'm probably going to, I'll give you this shot here for for the main stuff, and then if I have to see anything like that when I'm out of the box, I'll take a peek over here this way.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll get you framed up so you don't look like the guy that's sitting way in the back. So that way your head and shoulders and everything are proportionate to all of us here. And
Oh my gosh.
so once he's situated, I just want to make sure your head's not cut off. And so are you at your relaxed position where you're going to be? Beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I think that looks good. I think we've got the good lineup here.
Say hello to Manuel, Joseph Burke, and Joyce.
Joyce
joining on
is
Facebook.
here. She's one of my favorite peoples.
There you go.
Joyce is awesome.
Joyce Essick. Yep.
She's from
Joseph
Liveview.
is
She's great.
Joyce?
preparing for hurricanes. So.
Yeah.
Ugh.
What were you gonna say? What were you gonna say, Greg?
Oh, I was just giving a shout out to Joyce from the LiveView team.
Yes. She's great. Yes, I saw the hurricane that's headed right toward Jeff Adams. I said, Jeff, they're just like it's coming right at you.
Yeah.
So
And what's interesting is everywhere he travels, there's always a hurricane heading toward him.
him and Joe Burke. Joe Burke's right in
That's
that
right.
too.
That's
Yeah,
right.
he's
It's all the Florida people taking it
Yeah.
with them.
yeah. So hopefully it's not as bad as what they're thinking, but
Hopefully.
we'll see. We'll see. Guys, we're gonna be going dark here in about a minute. So come on in, get your cup of coffee or whatever you're drinking. Sit down, and we're gonna have a good show for the next half hour. It's gonna be a lot of fun because you asked for it, and we're bringing it. So that's the way we're rolling.
Oh, we mentioned Joe. Joe said, "What about me?" We mentioned you.
Joe, we did.
We didn't forget
Yes,
you.
we didn't forget you. You're the reason. You've got the multiverse. They're coming right at you.
That's right.
I can't forget you. So, all right, let's go dark here, and guys, we'll start the recording. We'll be right back here in a few. Hey guys, welcome to we're muted.
Yeah, that's what Facebook's saying.
Oh, we should be back now. Let's
Yeah,
see.
thanks guys on Facebook.
Okay. So we should be able to hopefully get to the bottom of how to do professional broadcasting from the field with high quality. And Greg, hopefully you have an answer for that.
I do. As you can see, they're displayed right on my tabletop right here. I've got a few live view encoders. So we'll talk about how we can feed those into various software encoders that you might use out there, Wirecast, OBS, vMix, you name it. I mean, there's a way for you to feed, a wireless camera into any of those encoders easily, and I can kind of walk through it today on the program here.
Awesome. Because I know for a fact that a lot of times people struggle with this going in, especially trade shows. If you're going out to horse races, I mean, we get customers and we see people's workflows from all over: baseball games, football games, and I think you specialize a little bit in the sports area for LiveView, correct?
I do, yeah. So I'm a solutions engineer here at LiveView, and specifically in the sports market here on the West Coast. So I work with professional, amateur, and college sports teams. So yeah, you're exactly right. In a lot of those scenarios, they are working from, say, a baseball field or football field, where internet is a little difficult to come by. So what our products provide is a way to bond multiple sources of internet together for a lot of bandwidth, enough that you would be able to push out high quality, high definition video. So, kind of what you're looking at here on my table are, this is the LiveView Solo. So it's kind of our entry level product. It's got you can bond together Wi-Fi, Ethernet, and then 2 cellular modems. I've only got one on here, but you can actually connect 2 into there. And then in the back here is the LU300, which you can get up to 6 different sources of internet into on that. 2 internal modems, 2 external modems, then Wi-Fi and Ethernet. And then here, the big kahuna, that is our LU600. And you can bond up to 10 sources of internet in that. It's got multiple cellular modems in there, plus you can bond the Ethernet and Wi-Fi. And then, I can kind of go through the transmission path on that. I've got a few slides that we can tee up in a little bit here too. But if you want to kind of give people an idea on how cellular bonding works, we've got a video on that too. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, we can play that. So for those that are wondering, if you go out, I know I go out to trade shows. I do use LiveView. One of the things that I like to do is I like to hook up a camera to it and walk around and interview, like running gun style. So there's ways to do that. He mentioned the LiveView Solo. That's in fact the one that I have here that I use. Before we get to that video, guys, Marty, what's your take coming from your ESPN background? How has technology changed when it comes to that? I mean, you're used to going out. If you wanted to go live remote, you had to drive this big old truck out, right?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, certainly at the network level, you would have to do that. You'd have a production truck, and usually you'd have an uplink truck, and you do satellite, and it's or fiber, depending on where you are. If you're in a big city, and that's pretty involved stuff, and that's certainly out of reach of a smaller producer. Only the top level networks can afford that. But with LiveView products and bonded cellular and these bonded connections, I can tell you, as a small producer myself, when I go on the road, the first thing, if I'm going to do a live stream on location, the first concern, and usually it's a big worry, is what's my internet look like? And I'm always worried about that, and I want to test it, and trying to get the client to understand how important that is. And even if you have, oh yeah, we got Wi-Fi, and that's the the code words. Like, I'm not too sure about that, and they don't really understand that there's so many fail points that can go wrong. Even if you have a wired connection, you don't know what kind of uplink you have. Testing's very important, or just that single connection. If you're relying on just single connection, even if it's wired, something goes wrong, you're dead, and you have nothing, especially if it's a paid job and they have to get the signal out. So that's where, and I know we're going to get into what's bonded cellular, bonded connections, but that's so important. And this technology is such a godsend to producers, because now you can go out and Greg, what you were mentioning, especially at the top level, you can bond even up to 10 sources at one time, including multiple Wi-Fi and Ethernet and different cellular sources. So, I mean, you can really keep a nice stable signal, because so much can happen. I even do it even from home if I'm doing a remote production and I'm relying on my single wired internet connection. That's pretty good. I have a pretty good bandwidth there. Any little thing that happens, you could be really up the creek, and it's doubly a problem on the road, especially if you're unfamiliar with the setup they have and the competition for the signal. Stephen, all this stuff, what this is like. I mean, it's just there's so many things go wrong. So if you can take that out of the equation and bring something that like a live view unit out there, it just takes all that out, and it gives you, again, reduces those multiple points of failure. Instead of multiple points of failure, you have multiple points of success, because you have multiple redundant paths to get your broadcast out, and that's everything right there. So
and Jeff, you're doing more broadcasts right now with the fire company. I mean, how is it like when you try to go out in remote places and try to do broadcasts? I mean, how you've obviously facing struggles with that too, right?
Oh, there's no doubt. I find it really amazing how so many people in our world today, everybody who's a content creator, rightly so, says, "Well, I can broadcast to the world and I've got my phone," but they don't know the struggles. I mean, I think we could all across this panel do the back in my day right now. Not only was satellite problematic, but it was extremely expensive, somewhere in the neighborhood sometimes of $5,000 an hour. And if you booked a 15-minute window and you're running a couple minutes late and your show is kind of winding down, you see color bars, they cut you off. And this technology is absolutely incredible. It is not only wonderful from a tech perspective, but it is bringing the stories all across the world now in places where we've never been able to do it live. And it's one thing to have your iPhone to do a show or to shoot something like news, but we all know what the moon looks like in it. You can't get very close. There's a reason why we still have the big broadcast cameras with all the knobs and the lenses and things. So the technology in combination with a live view pack like this gives you the ability to literally capture the world in real time. And I think this is where we've seen this ushering in of new citizen journalism, new broadcast operations coming online that are not the big three, the big four, that kind of thing. It's absolutely incredible. There's no doubt about it.
Now, Greg, you did say that we're going to play this video, and that basically it's going to show everybody kind of what bonded cellular technology is about, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Exactly.
So let's take you guys to that. We'll be right back.
The internet can be a scary place for your live video, but you can remove the fear of unstable bandwidth or a poor connection ruining your transmission. How? With LiveView Reliable Transport, the secret behind all LiveView cellular bonding technology. LiveView units bond multiple connections together, and LRT ensures that your content is transported with the highest quality wherever you are, even over the most unreliable networks. LiveView ensures network stability by bonding together multiple networks of varying bandwidths to create one single, reliable connection to transmit your live video content. This way, even if one connection becomes unstable, the bonded connection remains robust automatically. Here you see how it all works over time during a live video stream. The bandwidth will fluctuate depending upon where you are located, if you're moving, or just general cellular congestion. But LRT ensures that your video continues to stream by automatically adapting the video bitrate to accommodate these network fluctuations. This way, your video continues to transmit at the highest possible quality at any given time. If the bandwidth lowers, LRT will lower the video bitrate to ensure the transmission is never dropped. When the bandwidth stabilizes, the bitrate will increase to the best possible quality without any action from you. Whether you're streaming to Facebook Live or covering a large-scale broadcast, LiveView removes the need for expensive satellite connectivity, frees you from being hardwired to an internet connection, and allows you to go anywhere to share great quality live video with confidence.
All right, guys. So that pretty much explains the whole bonded technology. And I do want to state, there's a lot of companies out there that do bonded technology, but over the years, I've tried different ones personally, and I've seen many, many problems with it, guys. And I know we were kind of talking during the video that LiveView has gotten it right, and that's kind of why we wanted to showcase that here on the show, because we know how time critical it is when you're out in the field, you're trying to do professional video, and you can't afford to have your production fail. You can't. And so that's why, like I said, myself personally, I have put my trust in LiveView, and I've used it, for every trade show that I've gone out to, whether it be in the tech and broadcast industry to the hunting industry. So I think, Jeff, you were even saying, I mean, it's mission critical.
Oh, it absolutely is. The station I spent 5 years at producing a TV show out of DC, was CBS station. They lived off of the LiveView, and it's because there's a number of different products out there that can do a good job, but the LiveView, in my opinion, has been a premium product because of the technology and the engineering behind it, the redundancies built in, and I think it's just been a lot of smart and savvy thinking about it. But there's no doubt there's many ways to do something, but I can tell you, just in my experience, this is definitely something to keep an eye on if you're very serious and you really can't lose that signal, because that's what will happen if you start looking at the Amazon list and you say, oh, this looks like it'll do it for $69. Alexa's not going to help you there. So,
so Greg, I know you showed a plethora of products that are back here, but why don't you kind of walk through real quick? I know you've got some diagrams and we can get into that, but let's look at some use cases for the different products. Somebody might be sitting there saying, well, I don't need that huge backpack for, I'm going out and I'm doing a kid's baseball game or something.
Yeah.
Why don't you kind of go into a little bit about that? If people are looking for a solution, what would you recommend? So let's say we're going to do a high school softball, since you're more in the sports realm, and we may have some folks that are doing sports. What would you recommend as to be on the safe side? Because you don't want to be underpowered, but you also don't want to be overkill when it comes to bandwidth.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we'll start, kind of at our basic product, the LU Solo here. So, ideally in that softball scenario, you'd be able to get onto some kind of a Wi-Fi network or Ethernet as kind of your base, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got that at least to work with, but you might not have that available. So you're going to have to go out and get some cellular modems. So LiveView will work with USB modems from any cellular provider out there. They just plug in easily right into here. We've got a USB connection that goes into there. And then you can plug your, so there's a couple ways to do it, right? And that's kind of what I've got to show in the diagrams. So you can either use this on a camera to set that up as a wireless camera and then feed that back to your switcher, or you can actually take your switcher output and run it through here. So this is going to serve as your encoder for your program outfeed.
Which diagram would you like me to bring up? The one with the wireless cameras, or do you want me to do the bonded cellular?
Let's go from the cameras first.
I can bring that up for you and let you talk about that a little bit here.
Cool. Okay, so in this scenario, you can see we've got 3 cameras set up, and they've all got the LiveView Solos that are all feeding into a computer. Now, you could be running Wirecast, OBS, any production truck, any variety of different softwares on that, but you do need something to catch those feeds. So you can see on there that I've mentioned Rtmp mini server as a one of the newer options that's out there. That's pretty cool, because that'll give you an Rtmp push address that you can set up your LiveView Solo to send into them. And then what that software does is it turns the source into NDI, so it can easily be picked up by one of those switcher softwares. And I can actually demo that here with my little GoPro that I've got set up. If We can switch over to, let me get this turned on, and then I can share my screen and kind of show you how that would work in practice, give you a
Okay.
little bit of a demo there.
So what we'll do in the meantime is we'll let people know, hey, guys that are watching this right now, if normally during this show, while Greg's getting that set up, we normally showcase you, the audience, one of your videos in the show. We're not going to do that today. We're going to focus on the live view here, but we encourage you guys to get those sent in. And if you want to be a guest on the show to talk about those workflows, please. But by all means, you don't have to if you're kind of camera shy and you just want to be behind the camera and shoot it, but get them sent in. So I think Greg is just about ready, right?
Hang on, let me just get my screen share going.
Okay. And
okay,
we're going to take
it should be good. I can't see you guys anymore, so you'll have to let me know.
You're up and ready and rolling.
You can see it. Okay,
yes,
cool.
Sir.
So this is our LiveView Solo login screen here. So I'm already, actually, let's see. Let me get in here.
Everybody write down his password. I'm just kidding.
Hopefully that
I'm
was
just
blocked
kidding.
out. So here's kind of our console that you'll see when you get in here. I had already set up a destination, but I'll start from scratch here. So we'll take this out. So this is that Rtmp mini server software that I was mentioning. Over to the right, this is available for either PC or for Mac. I just happen to be running on a PC today.
So we can access
see on here,
we can access that from a smart device too, right, Greg?
Rtmp mini server?
I mean the web interface that you're going into, that you're logging into.
The web console, yes. We do have we've got an app as well.
Cool, cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as far as Rtmp mini server, the things to know about this is that you will have to set a listen port, and you may have to do some port forwarding on your router in order to get that working correctly. So I've set 1936 here as my listen port for this, and then you're just looking at an Rtmp push address right here. So I would copy this from here. And why is it barking at me? Let's see. I'll create a new destination. And in here in the Solo console, we'll come to create a generic Rtmp destination. And let's see. I see what's going on here. I've got a test generator for NDI working. So I'll just give this a name. I'll call it my mini server. And as far as a profile, we'll do 720 or 1280 by 720. This primary URL it's looking for will be this to connect from internet. So I'll just copy paste that in there. And then you can create any stream key that you want here on line 1. So I've just called it Solo. I'll copy that, paste that down here. I guess everybody knows where to email me now. I get spam like heck on that anyway, so don't worry about it. We're not reaching inbox zero anytime soon on that.
So what he's saying is all hate mail for the show today goes to that address. No, I'm just kidding.
Send it right there. I'm glad to respond to it, Stephen.
Yeah, no, it's good. Got to have fun on the show, you know? You just got to have some fun.
Absolutely. So now that we've set up our destination in here, it's just a matter of starting up the stream. So we can do that either there's a button on the Solo itself, or we've got a go live button right here. You also notice there's a low delay mode on here, which is really nice because you can get your latency down to about a second, which is convenient for cutting cameras. And making sure that you don't miss anything. This is all using the same technology that our higher end products use. So your camera should be pretty in sync. We do have a precision timing feature in there that keeps everything synced up as long as you've got the same latency set for all of it. And then you can see the LRT is on here. That's kind of the secret sauce that handles all the bonding that you saw in that video previously. So definitely want to make sure that's on. You can pick so all of this has to go through a gateway server. So I'm closest to San Jose here. I'm in Portland, Oregon right now. So that's why I'm going to push to there. But we'll hit go live here. It'll start streaming. And then over here on Rtmp mini server, I should start to receive the feed momentarily here. There we go. There's my LiveView backpack. So then if you're working with a software switcher, let me just take that down there. And so we'll pull up Wirecast. I've already got this kind of set up, but let me start from ground zero here. This is Wirecast, the 13 beta, by the way, that I'm working in. So it just comes in as a NDI source in here. So here's my computer. Mini server A, line 1 is where we're pushing to. So you can see the preview image right there. And I can move this camera around. And you'll see kind of what the latency would look like. It's very low.
That's really good.
Yeah. So I'll just add that. And there you can see I've got my shot. It does have some of the GoPro stuff on top there. So I'll just stretch that out, get rid of that. And there, we've got a nice shot.
Awesome. So people could essentially use this. They could use this to basically, if they're in a like down at a racetrack or something, or they're doing interviews from the side of the track where there's no fixated cameras, they could essentially set this up and bring that in with low latency via NDI.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, some of our higher end products, like the big backpack, the LU600 and the 300 back there, they actually would feed into a physical server. I've got that kind of over to the side here. I can show you real quick. It's right down there. Whoop. So there's a couple LiveView servers down there. Sorry, I hope that doesn't mess up your.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Your setup, but yeah, our servers can actually push out NDI across the network so that you could pull that into a switcher, or they've got SDI outputs on them as well. So in most cases, you would just be taking SDIs right into your switcher from multiple LiveViews. You can set up to 8 channels of, you know, so 8 different LiveView encoders feeding into that and 8 SDIs out.
You know, that's something we haven't really touched on a lot here, guys, was the whole NDI, you know, the power of NDI, and just seeing that in action here with that. I mean, we use it here in our respective studios, but Greg, I mean, it just made it that much simpler to add it, you know, rather than typing in IP addresses and going through the whole, you know, the whole shebang with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was a headache before. I mean, you know, I can't tell you working for Wirecast, how many people would be like, how do I get my feed into here? I can't figure it out, because a common stumbling block, right, is that you think that you enter an RTMP push address and you can push right to Wirecast, but you can't. It's got to hit a server first. So that's kind of the function of that Rtmp mini server program. It turns your computer into a server.
So one of the ways, and I don't know, Marty, if you remember this back when I was covering NAB, but years ago, one of the ways that I was doing it, I wrote some Apple script to where I would let reruns run at home on my Wirecast, and I would set Apple script. So when I was going to go live with LiveView at the trade show, I would send myself an email to that computer at home, which had Apple script to trigger Wirecast to go from that, as Greg was saying, that RTMP receive from the LiveView, from the server, to grab that, switch it, take my pre-recorded out of live, and put my LiveView live, so that I could use my home destination, my home internet, to go out to YouTube and all the other destinations, because LiveView was going to the cloud. So I've used a lot of ingenuity with that, and you guys are making it now simpler with a lot of the software that you have now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that Rtmp mini server application, I think, just came out within the past year. You know, just starting to experiment with that. There is a low cost on it, but it's a lot lower than something than like Wowza. I mean, you could use Wowza for the same function. Wowza is going to be a bit more robust. But for just somebody that's doing a high school game, something like that, I think Rtmp mini server could work quite well for them.
Now, I know we're going to have to wrap this up shortly, but you had a couple other diagrams that you wanted to show. Are there one particular that you wanted to show that we could pull it up, or?
Yeah, let's go into the program output, because I just want to make sure that people understand kind of how that one would work. So this would be to use a solo to take a feed out from something like Wirecast or vMix or any software switchers. You should see that as it should be one of the LiveView solo
That was the
diagrams.
one I think that's the one we just looked at, was it not?
That was
this one here.
Yeah, using one of these for a wireless camera source. So in this diagram,
okay,
you might be bringing in your cameras wired, and that's what you're seeing on the left-hand side there, where things are feeding into capture devices. So on this, you'll usually need a output card. So either something that would connect with Thunderbolt or PCI. Blackmagic and AJA make those devices, things like the Blackmagic Ultra Studio mini monitor. So that would take program, your mixed program feed into the LiveView solo, and then you could push out to one or multiple destinations from there. And that's kind of what you're seeing with the YouTube and Facebook custom Rtmp. Push to any Rtmp out of that. It'd be a fully bonded way of going. So you can make sure that your Friday night football game doesn't have people in the comments telling you that it doesn't look good, or it's stuttering, it's falling off, it's not working. Yeah.
Well,
let me say something here real quick about that. I think is really powerful if you're using products like vMix or Wirecast that do the encoding for you. Having a LiveView, even if you're not out in the field, as he just illustrated, that can take that weight of making that signal ready for the internet, live stream it, and that takes all the heat and the processing power out of your computer, where you're not doing that within the software, which means if you're having any kind of bumps and things like that, stutters, that alone could easily make things a little bit nicer for you if you've got a LiveView sitting there.
It's a great point, Jeff.
Absolutely. And that's something you could do if you're thinking about it. If you guys are going to a trade show, let's say you're a business, and this space, we all know, Marty, you're in the marketing business now, you all know everybody's going live. And so one of the things is, whether you're using whatever software switcher that's available, hardware switcher, you're in a booth, you want to go out with professional cameras inside your booth at a trade show or at an event, you can hook that up to a LiveView, get reliable bandwidth that's bonded through their special sauce, as Greg put it, going out to the web. It's definitely something to check out. I just
love the flexibility of the whole thing, right? So it's so many different options you have. You can go from just having a single camera and the LiveView solo, put it on top, and go directly out from that camera and broadcast it out live wherever you're at, all the way to using it as a method to get like a roving reporter, like you mentioned, Stephen, roving reporter on a show floor,
mm-hmm.
or at a sporting event where you can't string cable or you can't distribute the camera and get it back to your main switcher. I mean, it's such a godsend as far as giving you the options to be able to get those signals back relatively efficiently and be able to bring those, and make it part of a larger show, So if you add one of these units, you can, so many different ways you can use it. And just the whole breaking news scenario and use case, where you're able to, especially small operators, are able to now be like the big boys, where they can go out and they can get the signals in live and make it part of a large, that kind of what I saw in it. And that's kind of the use case I would bring to it, is making it part of a larger show and being able to bring those signals in where you wouldn't be able to bring a satellite truck, or would be way too expensive, and that's fantastic,
Yeah, in the sports world, we see a lot of at-home production going on these days, where there'll be a LiveView server that is back in the control room, in X city, and they'll just send their production teams out to the event with multiple live view encoders, which will feed back to their servers, which could be anywhere in the world, and switch them. So that saves a lot of money. They did that during the World Cup last year. Just sent out the encoders and fed everything back to Los Angeles, to do the switching.
It's funny, when I was with still with ESPN, they were just starting to do that. They call it thin productions, where they were experimenting, just sending the cameras and the crews. They don't have to send the whole mobile truck, and they would just send. And now in that case, they were using fiber and all that stuff, and sending the signals back, and then using the control rooms in Bristol and switching shows and having the announcers in Bristol, and just bringing the signals back. And this kind of opens it up to everybody, where you can kind of do the same thing, where you're at a remote location. Say you can't bring a whole crew, and you just bring a camera guy with a live view unit, and you bring the video and audio back, and then you have your main studio and control room, and you can switch a show. You can even have your announcers in the booth, in your home studio, and do it like you're on remote, but nobody will know. You just bring the signals back. But it just opens up so many options for productions. It's fantastic.
Well, before we say goodbye to our guest here and farewell to you guys for this week, I want to say I can give you a use case where I know for a fact we like to bring products and companies on the show that we believe in, that we've used. It's not just something, I mean, we always leave the door open for others, but it's something that we can say that we've used and we tried. And I remember 4 years ago when I was at NAB, and LiveView was kind enough to let me try one of their beta products, and I was out there, and I had like this massive latency on it. I remember those guys, the support that they gave me there, man. They rebuilt the server. Greg, you talked about a server. We're using beta, and that's part of what I'm doing, outside of this. I was using beta software, and those guys there, man, they jumped right on it. They rebuilt the server, got everything working. So that's a testament too to the what you guys do behind the scenes as far as support and backing up the people that are using the product. It's we do that too with Telestream. We try to back up the product. So it's always great to see that when you're getting behind the users that are out there, especially in a critical fashion where you're at a trade show and they're in the back room. The geeks are going wild. They're getting things and changing it and rebuilding things. So.
Oh yeah, we send people out. Our support staff's available on call 24/7, 365 days a year. So yeah, support is very important to our company. It's one of the key differentiators for us versus others.
Well, Greg, thank you so much for joining us. You guys can check it out, liveview.tv. Go check him out. Go pester him. He gave his email. He said, go ahead, go pester him. No, they're great folks over there at LiveView. So thank you, Greg, so much for coming on and joining us today.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot, Stephen. Anytime.
Awesome. Also want to thank Mr. Jeffrey Fitzgerald as well. Thank you, sir. Always.
Hey, it's always good to be here.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Marty McPadden.
Thank you very much, Stephen.
So the boys will all be back next week. We'll have some more content. So you want to stay tuned. Like I said, we've got some really cool shows coming up here in the next couple weeks. So make sure you send in those videos. I can't say that enough. We love getting those videos. We love seeing the workflows that you guys are doing and ways that we can help and assist you in your video productions. That was one of the reasons we talked with Greg. A lot of you guys wanted to know how to get professional video when you're out in the field. Well, we gave you a solution. So keep those comments coming, the feedback coming. And again, if we didn't get to your comment in the chat room, we're going to go back to it later on, and we'll get those answered. Somebody will answer them. And guys, we will see you next week here for another edition of On Social. See ya.